Welcome to The Beam, where curiosity stirs conversations, taking us a step further into the future we desire. Here we bring you the issues that matter, the voices that challenge, and the insights that inspire. I'm Sunas Nathaniel. Today we're speaking about a symbol of what it means to disappear without a trace in a so-called democracy. Again, we are asking the question, where is Daddy Yatta? Where is the accountability and where is the outrage? Daddy Yatta was taken from his home a few years ago. An activist, a lecturer, a voice on social media, gone. No suspects, no answer, just silence. He is one of the many who has been lost to the deafening silence. And in that silence, the question have grown louder. How dangerous is digital dissent? Is Nigeria safe for those who dare to speak the truth? What is the price for bravery? And what are the dividends of cowardice? When will Nigeria be cured of indifference and collective amnesia? What happens when a voice like Daddy Yatta is swallowed and we all move on as if nothing happened? Joining me to unpack this troubling silence and the wider implication of dissent in digital Nigeria are Awal Ibrahim Musa Rafsanjani, Executive Director of Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, Board of Trustee Chairman, Amnesty International, and he's also part of the Transparency International Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken. We also have joining us via Zoom, Barrister Effiong Inibe, who's a fearless human rights lawyer who has repeatedly taken on the state in various matters for freedom and justice. And finally, we also have via Zoom, Elvis Akbobi, Executive Director of the Not Too Young to Lead, Amplifying Youth Voices, where it matters. Gentlemen, you're welcome to The Beam.
Thank you.
All right, let us get straight into the issue of the day. My first question will begin where the whole silence began. You know, the night that Yatta disappeared, years ago, no trace. What does this silence say about justice system and our security agencies, you know, and our collective memory, the amnesia, the collective memory of Nigerians? Let me begin with you, Mr. Rafsanjani. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. And this is really a very disheartening, development in Nigeria, as human rights is no longer respected, and even freedom of expression, freedom of speech is seriously under attack. Under our constitutional democracy, Nigerians have the right to express their views in a very non-violent manner, and therefore this should not be rewarded by disappearance, brutality, repression, oppression, simply because you have expressed your constitutional right to show your displeasure on bad governance, corruption, poverty, insecurity, lack of social amenity in the country. And that's what exactly Daddy Yatta was talking about. And instead of the authority to listen to those very important concerns that affect Nigerians, some overzealous, so-called unknown people disappeared with him. And this is 7 years now. Amnesty International has been at the forefront calling, for investigation and actually getting him back to his families. Because since then, nothing has happened, both at the state and the national level. Everybody appears to be quiet, only making empty promises that they will do something about it. I think this is really a very dangerous situation that we are facing in the country, simply because you oppose certain, policies and programs, then you will now be made to disappear or be killed or be arrested, like we've seen in many instances where people express their opinion. The next thing is they get some overzealous security official to arrest them, and nobody will hear about them. I think there are a number of cases in Nigeria that is really, threatening to our freedom in this country. Even recently, there's another gentleman, Sultan, who was, also abducted, arrested, and all sort of fraudulent charges were, put on him. simply because they have used their platform to express their opinion about how they feel bad governance, corruption, and human rights abuses are actually undermining our existence in this country.
All right.
So government must know that this repression and oppression and denial of the right for Nigerians is not going to help matter. It will only escalate people's anger and frustration. So it is important that government do everything possible to find this gentleman. We cannot continue to see Nigerians disappearing just like that simply because they express their opinion.
All right. Let's hold you there. It's a very good place to start off. Let's go to you, Mr. Akbobi. What kind of psychological effect, does this kind of enforced disappearance, what kind of effect does it have on young Nigerians who are willing to speak up, those who are fearless? Does it send panic? Does it send fear? What does it do to civic duties and civic responsibilities when it comes to a nation like this?
Yeah, it has cases like this have a very negative ripple effect on people, young people who really want to amplify the muted voices of other young people. I have this very close ally, Hamzat Lawal, who's the CEO of Connected Development, and has in the last decade, amplified the muted voices of other people, and is a globally renowned activist that is working. Who's doing issues around accountability and all that. You see, it's not really an easy terrain as a Nigerian activist. But one thing that I think that is key again is I think we should leverage on the fact that the present president was once an activist, and I'm not sure in his journey or his metamorphosis journey, he was either weeks like Dada. The case of Dada, like he wasn't seen for a very long time. I'm not sure he experienced that. So I want to seize this platform to, talk to the president to look into the issue of the activists that has been missing for a very long time. Why I want to also encourage other activists to keep the fire burning. Just a few days ago, I have Charity They Say Begins at Home. I have this close friend called Israel Joe, who I saw on a social media platform where he talked about several attempts on his life. And issues like that dampens the enthusiasm of activism, most among young people. But let's not forget, too, that activism, advocacy, these are ingredients of democracy. Without these issues, democracy will not thrive. So I think policymakers, those who've contracted governance to with our votes, should look into these issues like this, because we live in a time of calling out. The most powerful office, as far as I'm concerned, is that of the citizens. And when the promises you've made during electioneering, and when policies are not beneficial to the people who contracted governance to you with their votes, they will call out. And that's where activists, like the likes of Hamzat Lawal, likes of Israel Joe, and others come into place. Another thing I noticed that is key again is there's a very unfortunate trend. I have some activists that are now in privileged position. It seems as if the office is making them muted. I think that spirit of activism should still be burning. I wouldn't want to mention on this platform, but we're looking forward to young people, young activists that have been given privileges of office privilege to continue to burn that fire, to keep that fire burning. We had a lot of activists in Goodluck Jonathan, ex-president Goodluck Jonathan's tenure, who young people take to best. But today, it seems as if they were given the privilege to lead, to make policies. It seems as if they are muted. For me, it's not too good.
All right.
For our country, it's not too good. That's not what activism should be about. You must call out, but whatever you're doing, you should diplomatically, but it shouldn't. That you being given a privilege should not keep you muted.
All right, let's go to Mr. Rafsanjani. You have won for several years, about how the civic space is shrinking, and with cases like Dadiata's case unresolved, what message, is being sent to activists who are really pushing for a better society? The whistleblowers, the journalists, the everyday citizen. What does it send to them? What message does it pass to them, especially as we go into another very crucial election period? What does it do?
So actually, corrupt people and people who like to abuse the right of Nigerians, they are always worried about the ability and the capacity of the activists to mobilize and amplify issues of good governance, anti-corruption, and the kind of intensity of violence that Nigerians are facing, and the outright collapse of even our national value system in governance. A situation whereby people purchase public office just to, harness and steal public resources, and you expect Nigerians to keep quiet. That definitely will not work. And sometimes they also, don't want to be held to account. So when people are demanding for accountability, they get furious, they get, angry, and they deploy all sorts of tactics to actually silence them. Again, sometimes dubiously, they misuse the word national interest. National interest is completely misplaced in the context in which this repression and abuses of human rights are going on in Nigeria. Because when you look at national interest, basically national interest is talking about how to protect the country from external, and from terrorism, from, also border infiltration. National interest is about ensuring that the economy is stabilized, that it is about actually ensuring that the country, resources are actually put into better use, and also ensure that trade and investment, as well as acquisition of resources for the betterment of the country and the people. This is part of what is national interest is all about. National interest is also about, of course, ideology of, of the
My guess,
nation.
huh?
You have a political system that you can actually even go, like you see in other countries, like in the US, you have some, arms of political parties coming. In the Europe, you have them, Able Foundation, Harrisburg Foundation, propagating their ideology, to ensure that at global level they are able to be understood and they transform that kind of thing. But in the case of Nigeria, when they talk about national interest, is the worry and fear that some people will expose corruption, will expose deviousness, will expose human rights abuses. So they hide under national interest. Otherwise, national interest is really about securing the nation, from external, attack, and from border penetration and the severity of the nation, as well as ensuring that you have a stable economy, including ensuring that, you did not actually, allow, dependency, to take over the economy. For example, we have a lot of resources in the country, but it's not being used. You have a lot of, business called, oil thefts that are being done in almost daily basis in this country. These are what is called threat to national security, and the kind of terrorism that you see, terrorism financing using Nigerian financial institution to sponsor terrorists. These are the real threat, not a human rights activist that will now say, okay, protect the right of people, or don't steal money, or do an election that is transparent and accountable. These are what human rights activists are talking about. They are not threat to government. They are not threat to the Nigerian people, but they are demanding for accountability, for responsible governance, for ensuring that people who did not, deserve to be in the place should not be there. These are all that activists, genuine activists, are talking about.
All right.
And then the role yet is attack, bullying, disappearance, abuses, and all sort of blackmail that you see from the beneficiary of corruption in Nigeria who occupy certain, position at local, state, and national level.
All right.
So we cannot continue to keep quiet. We must, because even if we do not do this, definitely the future generation will not forgive us.
Definitely. All right, you're watching The Beam, where truth meets the pulse of the people and the dialogue meets the duty of today's conversation. We have a very important topic at hand. Make sure you don't go away. Stay with us. Just a break. We'll be right back.